Hi all, it's Nat. You might hear a bit of noise in the background today because it's blowing an absolute gale outside. We've had a lot of weather warnings and that, so I thought since I can't go outside that I'd try and get some of my filming done. You might also hear pitter patter, which you usually hear at some part or another in all of my videos, which is my dog walking around. She's quite unsettled, of course, because of the wind. I need to get her nails clipped too, because yeah, it sounds like someone's tap dancing in the background. So today I want to show you a couple of pages that I made for a journal. Now, I'm in a number of Facebook groups, and in one of them, a lovely lady by the name of Chrissy, who I bought my first journal off of, is making a journal for someone's birthday, and it's a surprise. So it's for the lovely JJ'er. And so Chrissy asked if some of us would like to put some bits and pieces in for the journal, which is going to be a wonderful surprise for JJ'er. So I've sent a few bits and pieces off, but I decided that I'd really like to make something as well. So JJ'er she likes goth and steampunk and grunge and that, so I thought I'd try a few of those. I've never done any of them before, but I've realised that I sort of like the grunge and the steampunk because you can over ink and make a mess with your inks and it doesn't matter, so that suits me really well. So I started with the first page, which is Goth Inspired. My daughter had cut with a Cricut a while ago a couple of pictures, so I've got like the raven and the butterfly, and with the butterfly I just stuck some satin material on the back and then cut around it. So I thought the purple and black go really nice for a goth style, and I just covered the page in some black lace, and then I've just got it's velour ribbon, purple velour ribbon, and a bit more of the purple satin down the bottom of the raven. And I've left the raven unglued just in this top part here so I can slip this tag in. Now the tag was a tag that I just collaged the background on. Now I've used a lot of ink on it just to grunge it up a whole heap. I've stuck a bit of the satin on, and then and a bit of satin ribbon up the top, and then this beautiful like crocheted lace piece as well, and a black cat because that's in keeping with the goth theme, and I know JJ'er likes black cats. And then just some paper to journal on in the back. And then on the inside, I got out some of my negatives. I've kept a whole heap, and I don't think I've got all the photos, so I don't really need the negatives now that the photos are in digital. And I thought that rather than throwing them out, it'd be good to try and use them, and I thought they fit with this theme really well. So I think JJ'er has some negatives there of one of my daughter's birthdays. So I have just put some gesso on just to make the shine go away a bit, and so you can't notice the picture as much underneath. And then a few die cut cogs that I was gifted. I was gifted a whole lot of cogs by someone when I requested some steampunk items one day in one of the groups, so that was really handy. They've come in really handy. So the second part of this video, I'm going to show a process video on how I've coloured the cogs because I really like the way they've turned out. Okay, so I had some offcuts from the background paper I used, which came from, I don't know what paper pack this came from. My mum found it in, I think, the Salvos one day, and she shared it with my daughter and myself. So I've got a whole lot of these random bits, but they suit this really nicely. So I used an offcut of that to make this journaling spot, and as you can see I found some sticky letters and put JJ'er's name there and just did a bit of stamping on it. So that's a journaling card. I'll probably put a nice personal message in that, I think. And then on this side I will also show how I've coloured this. This is actually like the film that's inside your old floppy disks. I'm pretty sure I had a whole heap of floppy disks and I was going to chuck them out, and I thought, oh, I'll break them open and see what's in them. And then I kept all these bits and pieces, which I'm glad I did because I really like these. So, and then yeah, some of the cogs. And then I cut an extra bit out of the background paper to stick on top here so that I can make a little tuck spot there for this tag. This tag just has a butterfly stamped on it and some of the cogs, and then an eyelet that I've put in, and the tie here is like music tape. I have some old tapes that I found, and again I feel bad just chucking them in the bin if there's a use, so I thought I'd try and use the ribbon out of the tapes. So I thought that would go quite well with this theme as well, something a bit different, and use them up. So that's that page. I've tried to keep it sort of simple, and I've stuck an eyelet in here because I wanted to add some of this copper chain that I found. I wasn't sure where to stick it, so I thought if I put it in an eyelet hanging on the edge, usually it gets alligator mouth anyway, so that it will fit all right there and not bulk out the inside of it, but also it can be removed if necessary. So, and then on the back page I used a whole lot of the wonderful cogs and that I was gifted. And I had a piece of cardstock that had a whole lot of clocks, so I cut one of those out and inked it, and then yeah, just stuck it on with the cogs and another one of the inserts from the floppy disk. So Mum had coffee dyed me a whole lot of papers, and she'd done this wonderful music paper that had this typing on it, and it says something about like battery and that, so I thought that's alright for a steampunk theme, and it looks quite good down the side. And then I think it was the person that gifted me the cogs also gifted me this silver ruler piece. So it was like a whole ruler with centimetres on the other side, but I thought I'd cut it in half and stick it there, and then I've got the other half for another project in the future. So yes, I actually really like the way this has turned out. Not bad for a first go, and yeah, hopefully Jo loves her journal. I think she will, because it's going to have so many different bits from everyone, which is going to be really cool. So okay, so now I'll show you the process I use to do the cogs. So here I've got some craft paper just as a base, because I thought why not put something down that's going to catch a lot of the splatter, and then I can use the bits for collage and backing tags afterwards. And I also put a bit of tea or coffee dyed paper down as well, also to catch the bits and pieces. I'll show you, I've done some last night, and these are the bits of the craft paper that I used, and you can see there's all the glistening copper and silver bits on there that will be really cool for collages and stuff. Do some more of that. So I do have some more cog bits here that haven't been done, and I liked the way it turned out so much that I thought why not do some more. So I just put them where I like the looks of them, to get some pattern, nice pattern going underneath. I mean, you don't have to worry about doing this, but I just like creating myself another piece that I can use in something else, because you get so much spray that goes, you know, not where you want it, that you might as well use it for something rather than wasting it. So that looks alright. So I'm using my pump paints that I got from Kmart. I think they're like $4 or $6 each, and I'm just using the copper and the silver. Give them a bit of a shake up. I'll start with the copper. Just move it around a bit until you get quite a liberal coating of the copper I want. And you can see that some of these are your craft colour, some are black and some are white. So it goes to show that, you know, it doesn't really matter what colour the underneath is, they still turn out looking alright. This one needs a bit more there. And the key. There we go. It's a bit of a wet mess, but it does dry pretty quick, this stuff, in an hour or two pretty well. Now we just want a bit of silver over the top. There, so that's basically what I do for the painting part of it. And then I usually carefully lift off the bits so that you can see the pattern underneath. And you could probably leave them on to dry, but they'd probably, well, they might stick, so I'll just do this really quickly. You could use tweezers or something, but if it smudges, it doesn't matter that much. So that's the pattern that we'll end up with, which will look great. So just let me move a few more bits here so that I can move this piece out of the way. And I'll show you got a few dried bits here already. These are the ones that I did last night. So you can see it's turned out really nice, the pattern. And they could be, you know, you could fold that up as a page in a journal or use it for collaging or tags or whatever, so they're pretty neat. So the next step, I have done some, and I have them here. So these are the results of just the painting. And this is one of your CD, the floppy disk films. So we're going to do something with that as well. And these are all the cogs that have just had the paint on. You can see the silver and the gold there. So the next step then, looks like this one was missed, so I'll put that one to the side. The next step then is to grab your gesso. Just take that little insert off. I'll just use the bits that come off of there. Alright, now with your cogs, what I do is just get the tiniest little bit and just do some little smears. Just in a few spots around the place. And that will dry pretty quick, just like that. So I might put that one to the side as well. Just like a messy splurge of it. Our last cog. Alright, so that's the cogs done. And then with this, I just use a bit more of a liberal coating of the gesso. Just to take a lot of the shine away and to leave just a little matte base where we can spray some of our sprays and get a few drips on there, and it might hold them a bit better. So just do that, put my brush in the water, just put my lid on my gesso. And then I grab a tissue and just wipe it. Now I don't like to do it all the same way, the wiping. I sort of want to go in circular motions and all over the place, so you can't sort of see that it's been wiped over so much. And just leave a slight coating on there, just sort of like that. Just get that little bit off there. It's a bit shiny now, just there. Just wipe a bit on there. There. Now, so with that, I'll just let that dry for a little bit and we'll spray that afterwards. We'll get on with, I have these ones. I'll just make sure I've got the right ones here. No, these ones. So I'll move this one out of the way because these are ones that I have gessoed and let dry just for an hour. So you can see the whiteness on the cog bits. That's where all the gesso is. So then the last step with the cogs is I use my black distress ink just to get a few different colours on there so they sort of look worn and aged and that. And I just distress wherever I want around it sort of, but particularly in the spots where there's the gesso, because the ink seems to grip a lot better there than it does on the shiny bits. And you go over the gold as well a bit just to get some of the shine off and do the edges. Now if I show you this compared to that, you can see the difference there. It looks a lot more aged and grungy. It's blackened up those bits nicely. But you still see a bit of the white as well, so it looks like it's been corroded. Now I have no idea what people usually use to do this. This was just, I was sitting there thinking, how am I going to do this? And I remembered I had the metallic ones, but then I don't like the brightness of them. So I thought I'd give them a go, and then thought of the gesso on the ink as well. So yeah, it's turned out a lot better than I thought actually. Another nice one. That's that one. And then with this, I just grabbed out my gold and silver paints again and just did like 1 or 2 sprays. Just to get a few drops. It's alright to get a few big drops too. There, just a lot. Then might put one more copper over there where it's, yeah. And then you just let that dry. And this is a piece of one that's dried and that I've cut up and used, and I love how that turns out. Takes a fair while to dry, but yeah, it looks really, really good. So yes, that's how I did the bits and pieces of my cogs. And as I said, I love the way they've turned out. A good way to make them look aged. So I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm going to try not to get blown away today. Yes, must go and do some other stuff with my day. See you later, everyone.